when the prof lost mayorship in 2021, the prof took us to houses of SWAPO comrades that, no, let's work with this guy, they'll vote with. So then we said, oh, there's the big problem. You are saying SWAPO is the enemy.
Yeah.
Now you want us to work with SWAPO to make you mayor. Then we said, no, then there's a problem here. Literally also to find out that it was actually some individual in SWAPO that was even paying for the rent of AR at the office. They were funding certain AR projects. Then we decided, this thing is very dead. So what is then the difference of saying SWAPO is bad?
Yeah.
You come here at a movement, but this movement is still funded by the same SWAPO people.
Simon, thank you so much for coming on Africa Speak. The very first question that I have for you is that just talk to us about the rotational grazing at the City of Windhoek Council and how it actually came about.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be on the platform, and greetings to the viewers.
Okay.
No, it's actually a comment or something that makes me very happy when I hear about it, because we will begin from this interview to understand where it originated from and how it came about. We were very young at the time. We, of course, were part of a movement, a pressure group to say. At that time, it's called the association that we registered to participate in the local authority elections in Windhoek. Where, of course, we were very eager to change things around because the land question was very problematic to young people. So it was really a concern to all of us. So we supported a young person that we thought stood for the interest of young people, for the landless, and we rallied behind the cause. And we thought that let's give the person the benefit of the doubt. They've been young, they've been vocal on the land question. That's what we did. Unfortunately, we did not do well. We only got voted by around 8,000 people from Windhoek. And it was no Windhoek have a population of over 400,000 people. And so we only managed to get 2 seats, while the seats allocation are 15. So meaning we can't be mayor, we can't have control of the municipality. So now me and the other guys like the Dean Yoma and others said to go now and negotiate, use our skills with other political actors that participated in the election. So we spoke to parties like IPC, PDM, NUDO. So we spoke and said, look guys, we understand we are from different affiliations, but we think let's work together. Let's make this young gentleman, he's well-learned, he's educated, he's passionate. Let's give him a chance to be mayor. And we managed to reach consensus, and we formed something that was called Progressive Forces. It's a body, of course, that then elected him to be mayor. That was 2020. That's Dr. Job. Yes, that's now Prof now. Prof Job Ampanda. He became mayor, but it was on condition that it's going to be rotational. Meaning you only serve one term, then the following year you give another party. Because you are not on your own, then the other year you give to another party. Now we went in, we did our first year, so his term was now coming to an end in November. Then it was now chance for other parties to get a chance. So meaning you can now go and become deputy mayor, but another party must become mayor. So once it comes to that, the gentleman refuses and says, no, I must go for another term. Then that's when now the differences started. The other party said, we are not going to work with you any longer. If this is, you are breaking the agreement that was there, and so forth. So that's at the level now for coalition partners. Then we had now to have a discussion within ourselves and say, look guys, we are working together with this guy, and this was the agreement. So we're in fact now even suggesting that we must remove you guys. So we had 2 representatives then, it's Prof Job and Else Kester. I was one of the people that supported and said, okay, look guys, we are losing support. I think that we must rotate this position, remove you from the city and remove your fellow councillor Else Kester from there so we can put other guys. You had an opportunity, we did not really do so, we have not given anyone land, but also the problematic thing was that these guys were full-time employed. So Prof is a deputy dean and lecturer at UNAM. Else Kester worked for Social Security Commission as a senior manager. So what time do you get to go to Havana, to go to Stop and Shop? So we are detached from the community and society. That's when we decided that we are going to fail. Let's remove these guys and put the founders of the organization. So we know the three founders was Job, D, and George. So let's rotate the two that are in so we can put in two new guys.
Do you put in now
D and George Kambala.
George Kambala, okay.
Yeah, so that's how it came about. So because, of course, you find few of brave people that can take such decision. So in that meeting, I was the only one with D that were brave enough to say that, no, this is our suggestion. Prof. Job must be removed, Elsa must be removed, so we rotate and put other guys to go there to the city. That's how now that term came about. No, they are in support of road. People must go and graze. And that's how that whole aspect of rotational grazing came about. It was literally to rotate and remove these guys from council so we can put other guys. So they felt very sad and uncomfortable about it, and it got even to a point where it got really nasty, and people had to fight, and that's why maybe they're saying
physical fight.
Even physical. In those meetings, it's not a joke. So if you are telling somebody that I want to remove you, they think you are taking bread from their mouth. What maybe community and normal people don't understand is that to be a councillor at the city of Windhoek, you get a monthly salary of 35,000. So plus now other benefits when you go in the field, maybe you might hang around 40,000. So you removing somebody that maybe their salary at UNAM is maybe 50 or 40,000 plus an additional 40 from the city, and you want to remove them. So it then became a problem. Then we said, okay, the guys have to, that's our principal decision, we have to be removed, so other guys, they are equally founders, they should also benefit from the hard work and the fruits of the movement. So that's how that came about. I suggested for rotational. Then they brought in now the thing, you think it's grazing, you think it's where you just go and graze here, tomorrow you graze somebody. But why do you want to overgraze yourself? So rotate the grazing. So you rotate someone else's graze also, someone else's come and graze. It happens even in the villages. So they graze here, after you remove, you take them somewhere else, or here it's only donkeys that graze here. So that was really how it came about. We actually coined the term. But once it went outside, people started exaggerating because they don't understand the dynamics. But if it was, if it was in an academic exercise, we can even sue them for plagiarizing or for intellectual property without acknowledging the real source. So that's how it came about.
And it's also like, okay, is that also like why you, that also like that made you to take the decision, like, or when you and Papa were actually suspended from also AR, or how did actually that came about? When and how did that actually also came about?
I think I can say it contributed, but we're actually not even suspended because you must know AR operated without the constitution. Because once you suspend someone, it's maybe contravening an act or a law or something. So it's just a group of people that we just gather there, we do our things. So you couldn't even suspend, but it brought tension. It brought tension because some people felt challenged, or you want to remove me. So I must remove you before you remove me. So, but what was the underlying factor behind the conflict? Or dispute that happened between, that is one of them. But principally it was the fact that we were failing the people. Because the AR movement, when it started in 2014, they became popular because they were threatening occupation of land, invention, because we all wanted land for our people. Now when we became mayor, people were taking land there, Chomise and Nkwanangobe. But now our guys that are in council, we call them and say, guys, let's just go there and say that people must be damaged even if there's no water, there's no electricity. Give the person a piece of land, then the issues of giving them water and electricity can come later. The guys don't want to engage the community. Then we decided and said, these guys have become elites because of the money they are receiving, they have benefits. Then we said, no, they don't represent the interests of the people anymore, and that's not what we voted for. So that brought some of the issues. But one most important thing I think that divided us was the issue of D, because on the 13th of May, D got arrested at Chinatown. So D was a guy that was so much liked by many of the activists in the movement. So it became a threat to the other guys and thinking, if we go to Congress, this guy will be elected as president. So they started to get concerned about the popularism of D, how people like them speak, and say, no, he's he unified people. His language is like me. I was a very aggressive person and very outspoken. Pao is the same. Prof. Joff is the same. Then we say, no, but we think D does not insult. He's a guy that can talk to everyone, even our enemies. So we thought of him being a unifier and being a better leader to lead the... Then they thought, these guys are supporting. So they actually took a decision to say that despite D being arrested, the movement is not going to support him during this time of crisis. They issued statement, if you follow correctly, that we are not part of those protests. Then I took a decision and say, whatever it takes, I'm going to stand with this young man during this difficult time. He has a family outside and children. He's arrested. His mother is outside. So we should support him and stand by him. Because the fight that he was having at Chinatown is to fight for this order of mid-generation. And some of our family members and sisters really benefit from those things. They provide bread, pay for our little siblings, and all those things from the order with me. And Namra decided to do otherwise and bend things. So they were standing up for a just cause. Then the other guys felt that he shouldn't be supported. Then we said, if we had to choose between AR and D, we are choosing D. And that's what we did. That's how it came about. So I personally took a decision to choose D over the AR movement, because I believe what he was fighting for is to the benefit of the majority of our people.
And that's now what also led to you guys, that it was because it was in the newspaper that you guys were actually suspended, you and Pao Pao.
Yeah, apparently. But there were corruption allegations. You remember that time that we're suspended because we're making allegation that Prof. Job is corrupt, Prof. Job is a dictator, and those things.
Yes.
But it was a simple question. We ask him and say, who elected you as the president? Because we never said and agreed and say you are the president or the activist in chief of the movement.
But he's the founder, or was he?
But it's the founder, not three people. Founder is Job, D, and George. So who decides that you are president? You just start writing letters and say I'm president or activist in chief.
But whose idea was it?
Like, it's the three of them. That's why it's called founders. Do you understand? But maybe also just to tell the viewers to understand how I was very young, but I came from an informal settlement where we grew up together playing football with D. And so I did not meet D in AR. We attended secondary school together. At university, we led together. So it's someone that I knew because we grew up together. So what happened on that eve of 2014? D is actually the one that conceptualized the idea to say they must go put up a shake at Okanja Park. You see, if you are in Okurangawa, there's some hill there at Okanja Park. Say, no, what this municipality is doing, this Agnes Kafula there, let's just also demonstrate and put up a shake in Okanja Park so that the people can see that the young people are serious about this thing. That's how it came about. Then the other colleagues then came and said, no, but Okanja Park is informal settlement. It will not attract attention. Let's rather do it at a high suburb area. That's how they ended up doing it in Klenikupe. So he actually conceptualized it, if you are looking now at how it came about. But you can't attribute it to only one. That's why you call them the three founders, the three of them, because they were the only one. There was a fourth gentleman, but it's now until today. Even if you look at the picture, there was some fourth guy that was with them. Perhaps a driver or a guy that was just carrying things. But since they were in politics in the youth league, George was in the youth league, D was in the youth league, Job was in the youth league. So they came from Spile, and you can always attribute it that they are the three founders. So that was also one of the issues that said now, no, these guys are causing but we begin to question and say, since D is arrested, why are you deciding to say that you are in charge of the movement? Who elected you? Who made you the head of this movement? There was no Congress that ever took place. You just wake up and baptize yourself. That's how that name, when people even speak about a name called Induna, came about. Because Induna is literally just from people that are from Zambezi. It's chief.
Chief, yes.
Kavango, they say Homba. Maybe Oshiwambo, Headman, Iromo, Nkunda.
Yeah.
So it's not an insult. When people hear about it, they say, Induna, how can you insult the professor? No, but
So you guys call him Induna?
his name is Induna.
Or his name, or you guys gave
No,
him the name?
we gave him that name.
Which is chief. Which means you guys made him the chief.
No, we called him after and say, hey, we don't want that Induna tendency. Because Indunas are literally in the African context not elected. You see, your headman, you usually don't elect. Maybe from the father to the son, it happens. So we're questioning or cautioning against the Induna tendency. We're saying, let us be a democratic organization where we go to Congress, elect leaders. You must be elected by the people and those things. So that's how literally some of those terms came
about. Okay, but when you guys now ask the question, who elected you to be president, like what happened?
He did not have any answer. He just said, these guys must be removed. Now we ask, remove us using which constitution or remove us using which clause or whatsoever. So there's no answers. So we said, look, activism is not defined by being in an organization. You just wake up here in Vananda, you say, no, what I've been running, non-stop a pipe have burst, so I have to stand up and go and speak, for example, to the CEO. So that's activism, where you stand up against injustice. And it happens everywhere. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're standing up for injustice within AR, standing up for someone that has been oppressed and disadvantaged because of base fear of you being a favorite or seeing you as a threat to their existence. So that's actually what happened. And maybe for the controversial one, I know that can be very controversial, is when we spoke about now the corruption allegations. When we made our stance clear to say that we are 100% supporting Dimbulukeni, and we don't support you guys to continue as councillor at the city of Windhoek, the people started now fabricating stories. So there were cases that they wanted to open us, that we stole money from the movement. Ours apparently took money for T-shirts and all those things. So they actually wanted now to see in politics someone can taint you and ruin your reputation. Because if you get arrested, and it makes headlines that Kanepolo got arrested for stealing money in AR. So everyone, everywhere you go, project you as a thief. And they will never have trust in your credibility. Then we said, but no, those allegations are not true. We wrote a report, got the finances. I say, our spokesperson, I don't deal with sales. I don't deal with money. I'm not the finance person. How do you say I've eaten money? Pao was the head of election. He does not deal with money. So bring bank balances. So they couldn't do anything in terms of those accusations. Then we came and they said that, but Professor, by then he was a doctor, and said, but Professor, you were given 50,000. You were given 50,000 into your personal bank account, but that money was intended for the movement. But we don't know if you really brought that 50,000 to the movement. It was, can you open up your books and see? Because if somebody that we know come and say that I support what these young people are doing, I want to give you a $10, then they give you a $10. But once we go and look into our books, it's only $3. What happens to the other $7? So we begin then to question and say, we are well aware that you have confided in us that a specific businessman is giving you 50,000 for us to really begin. So we can just intensify the work that we are doing of fighting corruption, injustice, and so forth. But the money is not there. What happened to the money? Can you bring your account if you are saying you are clean? Can you open up your account and say, this is how much I've really received, or the finances of the movement? Because you can lie and say, I put everything that I receive in the account of the movement, but we can't see because there's no proof. So that was one of the ones that brought to say that there was corruption aspect, but we viewed this corruption because there's no transparency. And we have challenged to say, open your books, open the books of the movement so we can clarify some of this matter. And it was never done until to date.
But did you guys not have a finance person by then?
A finance person was appointed later. Because, you know, there was just Prof himself, George, myself, and Pao.
But how were you guys actually appointed? You were a spokesperson.
Yes.
Pao was the head of election.
I was appointed in 2020 in September.
When AR was already a political...
No, AR just became a political party this year. So it was just a movement. I was appointed in 2020 September. I was then a president, I think, of students, president of the Student Union of Namibia. Then they approached me and said, no, I think you have capacity, you are able to make a contribution, we want you to help us. Then I was saying, no, but guys, I represent students, I don't want to be affiliated to political parties. Until they've been coming. Until you gave in and said, these are young people, maybe we must come together and assist. So that's how it came about. I've never applied to say I'm spokesperson. They literally came and begged me to come and help them.
Really?
Yes. So, and I said, after turning them away, then I said, maybe sometimes we must help others as well. As young people and just and combine our effort. And I did that. So let's combine our effort and see what can come out of that thing. But in the long run, nothing came out of it. And we said, it's okay. Sometimes in life, things end up like that.
Yeah, it's true. And then also, like, you recently... Was it last year, the year before, when you returned to SWAPO? You officially returned to SWAPO. But did you ever leave the SWAPO party as well? Yeah.
No, I joined SWAPO in 2015. I live in Okurangava, but in terms of the SWAPO structure, it's called a district. That's now a constituency. So I was there in the executive of the Youth League in the Tobias Anyako district. That's 2015. In 2015, I got appointed only in 2020 by AR as spokesperson. But also now what you must understand is that AR was not a political party. I had a membership with SWAPO party that I have until today, both the mother body and the Youth League, but I don't have an AR membership, meaning I was a sympathizer. So you see, you are like a supporter. You support Manchester United, you put on their t-shirt, but that also mean that you own it or you are a member. There are people that are members of a football club. By taking up membership, you pay a fee. So literally it was just a pressure group. It's a movement that you can have people from different political parties. It's like we can come from different political parties, but we have maybe a church movement where we are saying that let's encourage the religious education, let's be praying, let's be at least having devotion and those things depending on your interest. So it was merely a movement that was agitating and fighting for land for young people. Regardless, you are in PDM, you are in SWAPO, you are in NUDO, LPM or whatsoever. It was not, that's why you could get so much support because people are from different entities. So that's how it went. I was then there. But when I took up that assignment or responsibility in the AR movement as the head of communication or spokesperson, I stopped being an active member of the SWAPO party because I was not paying my membership, because your membership is paid annually. I stopped paying my membership and I stopped also participating in their political activities at that time because I thought, this thing have been there, let me put it on hold for now. And we were pushing through that movement or pressure group of young people. That's 2020. Then it was just 2021. 2022, I said, no, I'm cutting ties with these guys. And we'll see in terms of the candidates that the SWAPO is bringing out of its Congress. And that was 2022 when Netumbo got elected as the vice president. We have seen that the party have begun to reform. Because you must understand from 2019, 2020, it was the time of where you have prominent leaders like Saki Shangala, the Bernard Esau, people that were involved in corruption. And these were prominent SWAPO leaders. And as young people, we were also concerned about the future of this country. Then we're saying, no, we cannot be participating in things like this. So these people must cleanse themselves first. Sort out this mess because it's revolutionary misconduct for me to be praising Saki at a rally with Saki Shangala who is involved in these things. So we say there's things that are not, I don't agree with in principle. So they must first solve these issues for us to regain trust again. Then I decided to renew my membership by paying my membership with both the Youth League and the SWAPO party. And we got involved and helped Mekolo during a Congress campaign. Of course, she was up against various candidates and she emerged victorious, and we assisted the party in making sure that we are campaigning We are rallying behind people, behind the vision and the objectives and the principle of the SWAPO party. And we are very excited that they announced that she's the incoming president.
Yeah. Okay, so your renewal of the members, the SWAPO membership, and also like trying to also like cutting the ties with AR as well. Was that also motivated by your also like your political or career opportunities as well, and also like thinking about the future as well? You coming back to SWAPO? So just trying to,
No, you see, there is one thing that we must also explain to young people is that you doing the same over and over again and expecting a different result, they define it as insanity. So how I was behaving as a 19-year-old cannot be the same as I'm behaving when I'm a 25-year-old. So when I was in university, I could do anything. But after university, if I have a job, I have a family to look after, I have responsibilities as an adult. So I cannot just be somebody that must be protesting forever. So there should be a time where you move away just from being someone that complains into someone that can go and offer solution. So we've went to school, we've gained skills, we've gained knowledge and the competence. So it's also high time that we must enter into these systems and also provide leadership and also be able to provide a solution. So that was also an assessment that you do on yourself. I had 4 degrees at the time. I was not employed. Yes. I had 4 degrees at the time. I was not employed. But there are opportunities for me to go to work. But I used to wake up every day at 8 o'clock, go to the AR office, 5 o'clock and go home. While I have a family, I have parents that have paid for me.
You guys given allowance? Or?
By who? Allowance coming from where? Okay. Then there were propaganda saying that the prof was paying us, apparently we beat up. But I challenged, I think at one of the local show with Toivo, that they're saying, but we're hearing prof was giving you, was it 1,500 or 3,000? And he stopped it when he became mayor. That's how you guys became bitter and fighting him. Then I said, okay, fine. But we live in a digital world now. Just provide evidence. How do you pay somebody money? It's either e-wallet or you transfer into their bank account because it's a every day, every month transaction. Or either you take that money and put it into the AR account, then AR account pay our salaries. There is no such transaction. I tell you until today that either came from the doctor's account to my bank account or either from the AR account to my bank account. Nothing, unless you can hide saying you were paying us through envelope. But we've never received such. Maybe you can hide behind that. But who should pay people through envelope? Even this old age pension is not given by envelope. So those were some of the reasons. But we also just decided to see that there must be maturity in life. Because the politics of insults, the politics of name calling, the politics of fighting each other does not build us. It's backwardness. We must find purpose as a generation and say, despite the fact that we don't agree, we must be able to engage in dialogue and find a solution despite our differences. And the nature of politics that we've been oriented in the AR movement, if you disagree with someone, it's either you insult them with their mother, or you insult them with their body parts, you call them all sorts of names. Then sometimes you begin to reflect when you sleep and say, but Kanepolo, I came from a religious house. My house is close to church. My mother is a religious person. I was not raised this way. Then you begin to say, no, man, this is maybe peer pressure, man. This is not me. And I'm not really doing that. But those things also have bad luck because you have no luck in life when you are engaged in the politics of just fighting, disrespecting elders, fighting and insulting people. It does not give you anything in life. You end up just nowhere. So we then did an assessment in ourselves and said, no, these things that we are doing, I think it's not a good thing. And we can fight for people's rights. But we can use different approaches that we can get our issues or voices heard. Then we assess and say, no, but I think the SWAPO party is a better vehicle that we can use than these other vehicles that are there. But also to make it worse is that we begin to feel very sad because when the prof lost mayorship in 2021, the prof took us to houses of SWAPO comrades that, no, let's work with this guy, they'll vote with. So then we said, there's the big problem. You are saying SWAPO is the enemy. Now you want us to work with SWAPO to make you mayor. Then we said, no, then there's a problem here. Literally, also to find out that it was actually some individual in SWAPO that was even paying for the rent of AR at the office. They were funding certain AR projects. Then we decided, this thing is very so what is then the difference of saying SWAPO is bad?
Yeah.
You come here at a movement, but this movement is still funded by the same SWAPO people. Do you understand? So then we begin to be suspicious and say, the agenda is not so clear, so let's abandon this project and go and just correct and fight things from the inside, from the party that we were born in, from the party that we have took up membership, and from the party that liberated this country. And we think that the party is actually the right vehicle that we can use to bring about economic prosperity to Namibians.
Okay, so I just want to understand also, like what the degrees that you have, the 4 degrees that you have, what degrees are those?
Yeah, I'm still studying, but I'm one of the few individuals that believes so much in education, because I think it's something that gives you things that no one can take away from you. Yeah, that's why I've always committed myself to educate myself, and go to school. I have my first degree is in information technology. Then I have honors in business information system. I have another honors in project management. Then I have another honors degree in business management. Wow. So those are the 4. And now I've completed again one in public governance. And I'm just left as well with research, just thesis to finish my MBA in public sector management. So in all these things that we've been doing, we've been going to school, you educate yourself, you equip yourself, because we're in a dynamic world, so we understand. So, but I don't know, it's like your parents at home always say, this child is maybe bewitched or something. You went to school with all this qualification, but you don't want to look for a job. But at that time, you just felt that, no, our energy, our focus, we need to fight. But there's no bread at home, man. There's no electricity at home. So it can't go on and on. And also, the parents will talk to you that the people that you are following are working. They are employed, they've went to school. You have went to school, you have graduated, but why are you also not going to work so you can provide for the family? So there comes a time where it sinks in now, and then you begin to realize that adulthood is responsibilities. We cannot just be reckless and just be there locking down people's building, howling insults at people, fighting. The economic question is very important. And the empowerment must come from the generation of us that got an opportunity to go to school. And I was laughing when I was hearing now people saying, this guy worked for NAS, they were silenced with the job. That's why they are living this. They've betrayed the generation, they've sold out. Then when they tell you those things, I ask, so who have I sold out? Were people in my pocket? Or when you said I sold out to people? So when I was selling them out, what were they doing? So I must disadvantage my family with all those qualifications, be protest, demonstrating, locking down buildings, while the same people that are calling me sellouts are busy working for telecom, working for MTC, building at their villages, buying cars, living in good flats. So I must sacrifice myself until when? I have made my contribution. Someone else must take it from there. So when you say we sold out a generation, which generation? So that generation must also be able to fight. Because people that tells you those terms are people that live comfortably. He's an executive job, he's a HOD, he's a principal. They don't want to get their hands dirty. Because these things have consequences. Once you fight the government of the day, you run a risk of being blacklisted. Maybe at NASFAM, I was fighting for students because my activism did not start in AR. I've been involved in student protests. As SRC, a student representative, we lock down NAS, you lock down NASFAM and these things. You sometimes have this disadvantage that these guys don't fund you when you're studying. But you show up the next morning demonstrating for other students to get loans. But you, because you are the problem, they make sure that you don't get a loan. But who bears this responsibility? It's my parents. They say, no, let's kill 2 goats at the village and pay 2,000. Let's make a family contribution and pay this. So until when must that continue? So you ask, these guys are doing good. But once I stop and look for a job, now you are saying I've sold out. So I was actually selling out my family because the poverty cycle will continue in my family. from your grandfather being poor, your parents and you now, your siblings that are younger than you are going to be poor. So there should be somewhere where you should break that poverty cycles. So maybe people must find another term or maybe get a dictionary to understand the terms of selling out. Maybe they just hear and they don't really understand the terms. Yeah, but that's what it is. I've went to school. I've got those qualifications and I'm still studying. Yeah, because education should not stop. We should keep learning. And I'm happy most of the colleagues. And also I never spoke one thing that made me angry in 2021. I took George. Honorable George Kambala is going to Parliament now. Went to register him at Tramford College for a postgraduate diploma in project management. Registered for media at College of the Arts. But these two guys had to drop out because they couldn't pay for their tuition fees. Now I was saying, guys, we are comrades. We are friends. You are at UNAM. You are at Social Security. You have a salary. And there's this over 70,000 that comes from the city in the two salary of you guys from the city. But we cannot take money to pay tuition fee for these guys. Then what we are preaching that we are doing for the nation is a lie. We are here for personal interest because I cannot sleep well knowing that I stay with you. I have two salaries, but you can't pay your tuition fee and you must drop out of school. I don't know if until today George have graduated. D had to drop out. He went to go and study at NAST. George dropped out from that because of lack of finances. Also because you can't get funding from these state agencies because you are fighting against the system. So at some point, this has to come to an end and where you must also begin to think about your own life and your own future. Because these are the same comrades when maybe there's death in your family. You'll just go and say, there's no building, the same that you are running up and down with here. So these things of comradeships and friendship is just in a group, but once you go at home and your future, your kids, all of us want to be married, have a wife, kids, and a house. When are you going to get serious with that? So there should be a point where you must calculate your risk and say, this is the direction that I want for my life.
That's so true. I'm so glad that you actually mentioned that because I think people are just like, they're just judging you guys from the outside, seeing you guys running around and all that, but they don't really ask as the person, how are you doing and what is that you are doing? Do you have a job? Do you have food at home? How is the family and everything like that?
So those are the consequences that you take on behalf of others. But once you stop, they want to insult you and say, why did you stop? These guys are sellout. But why are you not resigning, for example? You just get a guy that say, no, I was a senior manager. I'm going to resign, invest my money in putting a poster and these speakers to make noise in the street so we can fight for the generation. You won't do it. So those are the dynamics around activism and a lot of people don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, they just have opinions.
You know, one thing that is also strong with AR is also exposing corruption and in the country and all that. How does AR or how does Dr. Job or Professor Job actually get hold of the information, the corruption cases or the corruption issues that are actually happening within the country as well? Yeah,
I think in terms of exposing corruption, the AR movement is one of the entities that have mastered that aspect because of that fearlessness, we've then taken that posture in society to say that we are always prepared to take on anyone. But this is not necessarily that we are some inhuman or sophisticated people that just go into systems and hack and get out information. It's actually public members that comes and bring this information because they are scared to be victimized. Because if you work at a particular restaurant or a particular ministry and you see corruption, if you post on Facebook that the ED is doing corruption, tomorrow you'll be fired from your job. That's why they would rather put it in an envelope and just put it under your door at your office. Or they'll say, give me your email, they will send you from some unknown email. Or they will send a taxi, just pay a taxi and say, drop this envelope. So they do that, then you take the information, you assess it, then you make it public. Then it becomes public knowledge. People get exposed and all those things. So You have then became like if you were saying in marketing, it's like a billboard.
Yeah.
People come and advertise their issues there from you. You are just a billboard that put it for there for society to see it. But it's actually combined effort from people. Those brave men and women that comes out and say, this, what has been done in this particular entity, this ministry, this agency or this farm is not fair. Let's alert these guys that can, you are like a whistleblower that can go and make noise about it. And it's not really a bad thing, but sometimes we must also give recognition and also credit to those people that are against corruption happening under their nose or their watch. They say, no, I know I have a job to protect or a tender to protect, but this is not correct. Let me give this information to people that can get it out there in society.
Okay, that's actually great. So I want to know, why are you still running the AR page, Facebook page?
Yeah, no, thank you for that question. You see, that has been an ongoing discussion all around, saying, no, Kanepolo is bitter, is running an AR page, is spreading propaganda. But as you are speaking now, I'm not even on Facebook. So how do I run a Facebook page without a Facebook account? That's one of it. But I've made it clear, and I've written even to guys that are in charge of AR now, both to George, as this, he took over from me as spokesperson, and I've also communicated to the Master Induna himself, Prof, and say, Prof Induna, if there's really issues, let's sit at a restaurant, let's meet and iron out these issues. There's no bad blood between me and you. I don't take politics personal. We can differ on principles, but that's my principle and that's my standing point. I joined AR, not joined because I have no membership. I associated with AR in September 2020, where I was made head of communication. That page was created in 2015 as a Facebook page for the movement. There were 3 admin. It's Prof Induna himself, George Kambala, Dimbulkeni Noyoma, and Papa Kathanga. There were actually 4. Those were admin. I came in how many years later, and I was made an editor. So for those that are social media literate, they'll understand that an editor cannot even add and remove somebody. You don't have those admin rights.
Yes.
So the people that were admin on the page is Prof himself, is D, is Pau, and George. I can remove a post because as a head of communication, I'm a censor. I said the language is not good. This content I don't think is for the public. I can delete it. But I can't remove someone from the page. I was an editor. That's mainly it. And after I had an interview with Toivo at the evening review where I really discussed how I was dissatisfied and how I felt my relationship with Prof and all that, I was completely removed from that page. I was removed, and that interview was maybe 2022. I was removed from that page. They went to design poster and say, what Rotational Grace is running this page and so forth. But I've said to them, are you social media literate? Who's posting on that page? No, it's you. I said, but I'm not admin that particular page. Where is the rest of the guys? And to make it even worse now, there were apparently a statement that they released and saying it's Simon Kanepolo that, but I'm 100% running the campaign of Menetumbo and the SWAPO party. How can I go and post things supporting IPC and Itula? And you again go and say that it's Simon Amunime. So it's people that are bitter. Yeah, you keep saying the guys running the page and so forth, but if you are admin at that particular page, you even say that this thing is posted by who. Why don't you take a screenshot and say 3 o'clock who posted like this? You can't do that. It's perhaps, maybe I'm lucky to come from a background when I have a degree in IT. Maybe I have better understanding in terms of how social media works. But I've completely said in 2020 that my relationship with AR is a closed chapter. It's a product of the accidents of history. I've moved on with my life. I'm doing other things. I'm not interested in things that are related to the movement, and I've moved on. But they keep, every time it's me who's running the page and so. Now go open a case or report me on Facebook or do whatsoever. As we are currently speaking, I'm not even on Facebook. I'm maybe on TikTok, X, but I'm not on Facebook. So I don't know how I run social medias that I'm not even part of Facebook. So it's mainly lies and propaganda. Because when I engage George, I say, George, why do you keep doing these things? Dragging my name into these things. They say, the problem is the English they write there, the content they write there. We just think you are the one that is capable of writing those things. But are you saying do people come to me as a consultant and say, come and write these things? Or are you saying I'm running the page? No, but we think that English and the content, you are the only one. No, I'm saying, so you are saying everyone else has no capacity to write. So those are assumptions. So you don't even have evidence, you just assume and saying the content, the political language, and the words they use, I'm the one, because you feel I'm the only one that can deliver such content. So it's pure lies and propaganda. I'm not in charge of running any Facebook page, not even in SWAPO, I'm running any social media account. Yes.
So how has that actually, these disputes and these allegations and all these things that you've been involved in affected you personally as a person as well, and your career or what you actually want to do as well?
Yeah, you see, I think from a very young age, we have been exposed to such situations. Ever since I schooled at Bethel Primary School. So from a very young age, I would maybe carry my okapi to school because they will beat you up in their way or take your bakkie for food. From there, I went to Emmanuel Shifidis, again in Nama location. So we knew the nature of some of those things, of growing up in an environment where you really have to hustle. Not hustle, but to wrestle for you really to become somebody in life. So those are challenges. Some of us have lived our life overcoming challenges as opposed to celebrating victories. So you must have a thick skin in politics. Those things don't even mean anything to me. In fact, they make you stronger. Because once people are so obsessed about you, they are so concerned about you, there's something that they have in you. Because someone that has nothing to offer, they will not mention their name, go to conferences, design posters. They keep promoting you. Then everyone will start saying, but this guy, that job is always uploading and saying is what? I know this guy is from where? So they keep profiling you. They keep making your name. They keep discussing about you. Is because you have something to offer. And what we have went through, those is nothing to us. So it's mainly just people that when we're in the movement, there was a very important phrase that all of us used to say. We say that you must be self-defining and self-directing. You should not allow yourself to be defined by other people. Why? It's because if you allow yourself to be defined and directed by other people, you'll become a construction and consequence of other people's imagination. So basically, even at the family setup, people can say, but why are you doing education? Why are you not being a nurse? Then you change, you say, I will cancel next year, I'll do nursing. Now the other angle, say, no, you must go and do travel and tourism. You'll work in a hotel, there's okay angle. So you get defined and directed. So other people's imagination and construction, you become now, they construct what should become of your life. So you by going around and calling me, maybe Simon is what, Simon is what, it's small things, I don't even take it serious. But of course, in terms of reputation, sometimes can be damaging at work because your boss can call you in and say, what is the controversy, what is happening and so forth. But from where we are coming from, my personal life is my personal life, my professional life is my professional life. Not even at my workplace, my boss can try and meddle into my personal life. So you just tell them that there must also be a distinction between a professional life and my personal life. So those are things that are happening. I have no control over them. It's people's views and opinions. But this, what you have in front of me, this is what I represent. And as long as I'm doing and executing my roles or whatever responsibility the best of my abilities, no one can bully you into anything. Only unless you're allowed to be bullied by people.
Thick skin.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so in politics, with the thick skin, so, in politics, many decisions require compromise. So can you share an instant where you had to make a difficult choice that impacted your values and your goals?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Very tough one from the...
Yes.
Now, impacted your value...
where you had to make a compromise with your values and your goals as well. Your values or your goals.
Yeah, it could be maybe, what I can say is relationship-wise. Of course, we're very young. We are also into relationships and affairs with our significant others. Then you had a plan or a future with this specific person. Maybe you've been together for 2 years. You're planning to form a family with them. Then the crisis comes because of what you are doing. They will then tell you that, no, I don't think this thing can continue because those things of being at demonstration, confrontation with police, I don't think I can do it. But you really love the person. So you had now to choose between that and the woman. Yeah, so unfortunately that specific time, which is actually a sad thing, is a very good woman, but I had to choose activism over that. So, but it's painful sometimes when you are in bed alone, you are at home. These are some of the bad decisions that one regret today. But as it may be, life moves on. Yeah. Sometimes they say, if it was meant to be, it will be. If not,
yeah, ne? Like if
it like, doesn't come back, it was never yours.
Ne, If you could go back in time, especially with the start of your political career as well, where you started getting involved with all the strikes, with all the protests and all that, like could you, like if you go with the knowledge that you have and the understanding that you have now, would you say you will have made a better decision with your political career or with the things that you actually did?
Yeah, I think in life we learn by experience. And we should never be apologetic in terms of things that we have done that we can't change. Because it's these things that molds and shape us into individuals that we became today. Probably if I could have not went into politics, I could have been a guy that went and failed school, maybe stabbing people in the street, or a guy that just get a job, go to the office every day. They wouldn't be having this interview after how many years later. But of course, there are always lessons that you take from those life experiences, because if you don't learn from experience, then you're really doomed to collapse and fail in your future endeavor. So I can't really say I have regrets. It's just that there are certain things that we have learned that you can't even learn from university. There are certain things that we've learned that you can't learn from your house. So we learn through experience, we learn through the wood, we learn through doing. And we have now better understanding in terms of how you can handle and navigate through these life challenges in the future. And sometimes this can be calling. It does not just happen by accident. It's because God pushed you there, and it was for a reason, because there is a particular purpose that they have for you. And I look back, and I just look back with a smile and say, yes, these things that we've done is very revolutionary, very active, and we've done these things. But of course, if I have to go back, I'll still do the same, but I will do it better and in a different approach. Instead of maybe having to slap somebody or insult them with their mother, to find a way to address them in a manner, of course, that is decent, in a manner that is respectful, but also to have respect for dignity for other people. But we're still very young. We are born free. We still have a long way to go to make mistakes. People must be allowed to make mistakes and be exposed. The problem we have, where you have professional, for example, someone have went to school, they've got a degree, they've got a job, but they make no contribution whatsoever. Be it in terms of upliftment in your community, your village, your society, your family. You can't even chair a meeting when there's a funeral at home. You just hear there's a crisis, people are fighting. You can't say, sit, let's have a chair. This person is going to take minutes, let's have order and make contribution, do that. So those are what you get exposed to, and you get so many skills. You get so exposed, and it shapes you really into a better leader. It shapes you into a better citizen, and also it builds your emotional intelligence in terms of how do you then later on handle situations, because you are now emotionally matured and smart in terms of how you can handle issues. If you look at history, the guys of Nelson Mandela were called terrorists. The guys of Tewa have been arrested. If we check the Tatepamba documentary, every time it problems with the police, it's up to the circumstances at that particular time. If it's peaceful, it requires you to be peaceful leaders. If it was very hostile, it required you to respond in that particular manner for people to, for example, things like NASFAF. I hardly struggle. If I go in the bank, someone will notice me. I go to the shop, someone will notice me. I go, because we fought in this generation of our people. My small sister wants a school. I go there, it's a teacher, it's a HOD. Oh, we remember you at NASFAF. I got my loan, Simons. I don't remember. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So these are some of the rewards that you get, even if it's not financial. Yeah, so I was not getting that particular loan, but I was fighting for those that are going to be benefit. But those people have become professionals, some business people, some managers. You go there, it makes your way very easy. But people now just wonder, how do you know all those people? Those are sacrifices that we're putting in the future, that we're putting in the past.
Yeah.
We actually sacrificed our youthful years, while others were on dates with their girlfriends and just living a good life. You are busy in the night strategizing, organizing protests. We're even beaten at some point. I don't know, there were some pictures where we were beaten by the police, the likes of Ina Ngari, them and so forth, by the Ministry of Higher Education, the way we say we are not going to leave before you make payment. So you put your body on the line. You risk even death. So these are sacrifices that we've made. And at that particular time, you just say, I'm ready to die for this cause. And God was always by our side, and we are still alive today.
Wow. So what will you say, especially now we have a lot of young people that are also coming up that are interested in activism, that wants to fight for this cause that they are passionate about, or like the problems that or the issues that they are seeing within their community and all that. What will you say are some of the life aspects that we should not neglect as young people, as young advocates, as young activists? Those life aspects that we should not neglect while also fighting for these community causes.
Yeah, I think from my experience, one of the most important things that you should do is that never neglect your education for anything. Yeah, not for anything, not even your girlfriend, not even your comrades, not even your mother. And so, because it's the only thing that you can keep, that no one else can take the education out of you. You go with it to your grave. So as much as you are fighting or involved in, never neglect your education. That's number one. Secondly, one thing that you must know is that never burn bridges. You can have differences with people. You might hate each other today and fight, but there must always be room for reconciliation. Because the dynamics of politics, of this activism, it's so dramatic that it's never static. It keeps changing. It keeps changing. The balance of forces keep changing. Tomorrow these ones are talking on this. Because we might not agree now, but later, what if someone in AR that I don't agree with, later he joins SWAPO, then me and him are supposed to work on the same project? What is going to happen?
Yeah.
Because we fought that we wanted to kill each other, and now we happen to be... I learned that because even where I'm working now for the university, when I went there, people that I found there are not strangers. I found some were my classmates in grade 12. Some were students when we were in those SRCs. But we had differences with them. But once they see you, you hug and say, long time, 5 years no see. But imagine if you break bridges at the level where you are not able to talk anymore. You go for an interview tomorrow, that same person is on the panel. So it's going to make your journey very difficult. So we can differ, we can fight, but let's not burn bridges to a level where we become enemies. Because political opponents or differences does not equate to enemies. Because enemies is people that are capable of killing each other. But I must be able to find someone on the road and say, oh, Prof, what happened to your tire? Say, but Prof, you like insulting, but let's put on the tire. You put him, he helps, he drives, off he goes. If he finds me in a crisis, it should be the same. So that is, don't burn bridges. Make sure that there's always bridges where you can still go to the person and talk to them. Maybe the third aspect is the approach. The approach that we must use in terms of our advocacy and also in terms of our fight. Sometimes the person might be wrong. Just like maybe your mother or your aunt, she comes drunk. Then you wait for her on a Sunday and say, no, Meme, I just want to have a discussion with you. Meme, I'm not so happy. You come drunk every night in the house. I'm your child. Can you please minimize your drinking? She might listen, even if she might be arrogant and won't think about it. That's the approach you use. But if you just say, oh, kukajua corona, man, you just drink so much, you are useless, she'll never listen. Yeah. So the approach that we use to fight issues and address matter is also important. I attended a training in 2017 called the Youth Leadership Development Program, which is a very good. I don't know why it's no longer there. It's between the National Youth Council, FES, and the Ministry of Youth. They were teaching us those things of conflict management and emotional intelligence. But there's one thing that they've taught us that I've taken to heart and wherever I go, is that one of the best methods you can use to correct somebody or tell them that you don't agree with them, you must always start on the positive side. If I just come here and say, oh, I really like your English, how you are conducting the interview, your English so good. However, I think your eye contact, next time they just walk. So that person will not take it personal. Yeah. Because you have told them that there's something good in them. However, there's room for them to improve in a specific aspect. Yeah. So that's one we have learned. Maybe the final one is to say that I was taught and I learned the hard way that there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. Just like the thin line between love and hate. That line is very thin. Someone who claims that they care so much for you, but something happened, they can hate you the most. So, which is actually the same. It's one thing to think that when you are loud, when you are brave, you are confident, you can say your mind, but you must be careful because the line is very thin between confidence and arrogance. And arrogance is not something good for progress. It's not good for teamwork, and it's also destroys you because it consumes you as an individual. You become arrogant, you are too bossy, you don't want to listen to other people's view. You think your opinion is always right, say you can't tell me so. But confidence is just that you are brave to state your position. That no, guys, I don't agree. Vanenda cannot be removed from Commerce to Chonjonjupa because we have been living here. Consider then just saying, you will not remove Vanenda. So arrogance is something else, which I don't think it's a good thing, and we had to learn it the hard way. Yeah, we can be confident, but be careful of being consumed by arrogance. Yeah, so those are some of the lessons I learned.
Wow, okay. So, and like you mentioned you wanting to move on and also focus on your profession as well, on improving and developing yourself and all that. So how has this experience influenced your approach to public engagement, and what are your current professional goals outside of politics?
Yeah, I'm actually not so active anymore politically. The path that I've taken, I actually want to be a professional, or to say a technocrat, and I operate now in an academic environment, in academia, where you deal with scholars, you deal with students, you deal with other important stakeholders, and so forth. So it's a very safe and good environment for growth, and also for me to continue. Because one day I also want to be a doctor, if not a doctor, a various masters or so forth, but also contribute in terms of what you call the geography of knowledge. We must write papers, publish books, and make a contribution. Because we must never just make claims that you have papers from school, you have this degree and that. But what contribution do you make? Yeah. Be in terms of solutions, be in terms of where you come from in community, be in terms of how do you pass these skills to other people. I'm, for example, now in Angwena, and I'm doing a lot of activities there because I was privileged to be exposed to so many things. I was privileged to go to school. So I'm giving that knowledge. You go, for example, in Angwena and say, I'll get people from the 12th constituency and have an ICT workshop for a week. I'm training them for free, be it on social media, in terms of using computer literacy or MS Office, because these are people that some of them don't have this opportunity. Yeah. So it's important for you. You have workshop and say, I'm teaching people about emotional intelligence as young people. What does it take for you to practice emotional intelligence? Yeah. Or I'm bringing a friend that I know that I was leading with to come and train you on agriculture. So it's a safe space for me that allows me to study further and also just give to other people what I've learned, be in terms of public speaking, be in terms of my expertise that I've I've gained through my qualification, be in terms of also just solution-based activities in society. You can go and say, I'm coming up with a gym or a boot camp in Nana, for example, where 50 young people are going to be coming there. I can write a letter to sponsor and say, what do you need? It's just maybe cones and tires and what. So it's a community project and I've made the difference. I can do the same in Oshana. So these are initiatives that you bring and it's making a difference in other people's lives. So we know so much, we've learned so much, but what do we do with it?
Yeah.
So the approach has so changed that to think that when other people don't know, don't go and attack and say, this councillor is useless, they know that. Go to the office and say, Honorable Councillor, you are from Ondobe or you are from Oshkunde. How many young people do we have there? What activities can we do to empower this particular community?
Yeah.
How can I make a contribution as a land colleague from a university or coming from an institution of higher learning?
Yeah.
Can we create maybe a social media page for the councillor's office so we don't just rely on the radio every morning? How do we attract young people to be able to know that there's a representative in the region? So we thought, yes, we have so much that we can give because we educated with government money. Of course, my first degree I was paid for by NASFA. So we must also give back because this was someone else's money and so forth. Yeah, but I think that's what I've decided for now. That's the path that I want for my life, is to be a technocrat because I can make a contribution.
Yeah.
But once we are called to serve, we are always ready to serve in any capacity that can build the progress of the nation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Simon, for actually coming on Africa Speak. I will just actually love also to give you an opportunity for you to maybe, just for you maybe to, if there's anything that you wanted to also maybe discuss, but I haven't also asked you, this is actually also like an open floor as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I've been speaking a lot already.
maybe there's like a topic, that you kind of like wonder, something that you want to make clear that you haven't, or like something that you just want to tackle, but I haven't asked you as well that question, if there's anything.
Yeah. No, it's just to say young people will not be young forever.
Yeah.
Will not be young forever. And adulthood is a responsibility. That's my short definition of it. Yes, you are young, but then in adulthood is that there's responsibilities. So when you don't have responsibility, you can do anything reckless that you want to do. Because your mother pays the rent, they buy the food, you have nothing to risk and those things. But once you're an adult, you have other people relying on you.
Yeah.
So if I get arrested, my kids, who's going to feed them, for example, or my mother is retired, you begin now, because you have this response, you begin to be very cautious and calculative of the risk you take.
Yeah.
But all I say is that we must always make our passion our profession. You must do and put your energy in everything that you think you like. I did not just get my first job now. When I first finished IT, I got a job in Old Mutual. I was working there at some floor. I have to deal with these cabels. I was not interested. I stayed maybe there for 3 weeks. Then I quit. Then my mother was always saying, this person is bewitched. How do you just leave a job like that? But I'm not enjoying it. I enjoy speaking to people that I'm talking to, not to work with machines and do those things. So those were also some of the consequences of career guidance that we never got. And that's one thing that I've taken up personally and also with my employer to be making sure that I make a contribution in terms of giving career guidance to kids that are in secondary school. Because we have made the wrong choices, we have wasted time. You can have 2 degrees in a particular area, but you never use them for anything. You just put them in their suitcase. So that can be also some lessons that we have taken and so forth. But we must be very focused as young people. You must be focus in your life. You always be on your own. There's no those things of groups or friends. Those things are actually temporary. If you just look in your life, maybe after 3 or 5 years, you always change friends. Because once you're in primary, you're resonating. After university, you get new. At the workplace, you get new because interest is different. So those arrangements is by the journey where you find yourself in life. But you have yourself to decide upon your own future. But always do what you love. Because you wake up comfortably. No one has to force you to wake up. You do it. I like politics. I'm not forced into politics. That's why I had 4 degrees, but I was doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not forced by any, even if you are saying I'm getting 500 out of it, I'll still do it because I love why I do it. Yeah, so it should be the same. And also, we must also understand as family support systems, as parents, and so forth, that this is the skill set or the passion of this particular individual, and must allow them, because that's where you bring out innovation. That's where you bring out greatness in people, because you have allowed them to fulfill their purposes on earth. So I think it's a really a good thing. Maybe the final one is on those relationship things.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes, if we had an opportunity to go back, I would have not really taken that decision.
Really?
Yeah, I would really have taken the other decision. Yeah, but nevertheless.
To kind of like choose her instead of choosing like politics.
Yes. Yeah, maybe choose her and go and compromise somewhere with her, because the relationship is also about compromise. Yeah, so the other person must also be able to compromise to accommodate you. You must also be able to compromise to accommodate them. Yeah, maybe you could have compromised. Okay, I will not do politics full time anymore. I'll have a job.
Yeah.
Then maybe during my free time or weekends, I can participate in those activism. So it should always be a compromise from both sides. But the relationships are very important, especially to young people, especially our generation, for men. It brings stability in your life, but we must also raise some sort of a community and a society that is really respectable. Yeah, and that can only be brought up from a family unit where kids are growing up with both parents or partners involved, other than just us being reckless because you have fame, you go around after every girl, for example, or you have kids here and there, and those things. So as leader, we also carry a responsibility to be very responsible, because we have followers that look up to us. Yeah, so it's also important that we don't ignore some of those aspects of relationship, because that's why if you are to become a president, you must have a wife who's going to be the first lady. Yeah, so we must never as well and say to the expense of activism, whether you are a woman, you don't need a man, or when you are activist or a comrade, you don't need a partner. It doesn't. And those things you must balance in life. Yeah, you can't say, for the next 10 years, I'm just protesting. I don't want women, a problem.
Yeah.
Age won't wait for you.
You spoke about stability, that especially with the importance of relationship, especially when you are growing up and you are a young person and all that. How does, like, as a man, how does like a woman create stability for you as a man, especially when you are growing up? Yeah,
I think a woman just brings some sort of order at a place. If your sister is around, not just necessarily your lover, if your sister is around, you will not want to bring your bunch of friends and be smoking humbly, jumping up and down. Because as a man, you see, oh, these guys can hit on my sister, I have a responsibility to protect her, but also for some sort of decency. You don't want it to happen in front of your sister, which is also the same for your mother. So, which still continue with your girlfriend or your wife. So you begin to be very conscious about the environment, what association you bring closer to them, and also what you do with your finances, what you do. So it just brings some sort of really order in a man's life, because you also begin not just to think about yourself, but also begin to be considerate about even your responsibility towards either your family, because they've that caring things that they just have in them. You get money, but you don't buy yourself clothes. You get money, but you are just always drinking, you don't save. You see, it brings some sort of really just direction in your life. Because as guys, we have no problem. We can rent as guys for 2-5 years, but we just have one cup in the house that we share when we have cold drink. But a woman will come and say, no, let's buy cups, let's buy glasses, let's buy this. Do you understand? But for us men, we are not really interested in those things. That's why they are called house managers as women, but they are very important also just to calm you down and give you some sort of order. One, they mature faster than us. And the men can always, even until you're 40, you can still be in disco, having fun and those things. But once you have somebody in your life, it helps you to say that, I can't chill out until late. I have a responsibility over the other person. If I can't spend this 5,000 on unnecessary things, she might go and question, I don't save. So it's like someone holds you into account. It's like government having, you see, someone that must hold them accountable.
Yeah.
So when you have a woman in your life, they hold you accountable. That you promise you'll visit your mother, you don't. You promise that you are going maybe to buy goats, but you don't. But once I say even my money, you are just alone, you do whatever you want. So it brings some sort of accountability in your life. And that's why they say it's a gift that is given to men, and we should not take them for granted. We shouldn't abuse them. We don't beat them up. We must love them. We must care for them because they're a true gift. I was raised by a single mother. So I know the importance and the value and the contribution that women can make into our life. Maybe on that, when I schooled only grade 1, I think, in the north, then I came for grade 2 here in Windhoek at all of Palm Primary School. That's why I did, I think, my grade 2 and grade 3. So my mother will take me there. She goes to work. Now, when I came, the teacher will always tell me, say, no, I said, go home. The next day, go home. I will go and tell my mother, but that school, they are chasing me. I think I did not pay school fees. But the teacher was telling me, go and come back in the afternoon. So, coming from the north, you usually go, you rush home, while the big guys are coming, then you let them to graze. So that's the concept I have in my head, that there is no way that there will be school that goes in the afternoon. And also the word afternoon. I did not understand. We're taught English in Oshuambo. So that was one of it. But as much as that, I couldn't speak English, I couldn't understand what is the word afternoon. But you come, get exposed, and at least I speak better English now. At least so some of those are experiences that you go through. But you speak. I speak Afrikaans fluently, you speak English, you speak other languages. So it's actually a good thing when you go through struggles because you learn a lot from struggle. But you said you still had the question.
No. Yeah. Okay. I think my question is just like you said, you grew up with your mom, and like, was your father also like in your life as well? You growing up, or he wasn't there as well? Was just your mom?
No, my dad was based in the north. My dad has his family. He had his wife and other children. Of course, my half siblings. But me, we were born too by my mother. So she raised me up. My sister was also in the north, so I was the last born, of course. As a son. So I was raised up by a woman, and she did a great job. But I'm not saying my father was not involved in my life. He was involved, but he had a family here. So I was like an outside child. But he was still involved. So he supported me as well, whether it's financially, whether it's visiting me, whether it's instilling discipline. But I was raised in Windhoek, where my mother was, and my dad was based in the north. So he will not be there. And also he was in a relationship. So it's justifiable. You cannot say he must now be involving you. Then it's this, what are they saying now? This African thing of
the polygamy.
Polygamy. Otherwise, then you say it's polygamy. But I'm proud to be raised by a woman, and I have this fearlessness. I speak my mind. She's that type of person, and these are the attributes I got from her. She will whip you. She will lock you outside if you misbehave. She was like a mother and father at the same time. She's a non-nonsense person. And I also took this attribute from her. She's also a leader. She's in politics, so it's coming from her.
That's quite interesting. Now you being a father, you're a father, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now you being a father now, like what do you say is actually the most important? But do you think it's important for a child to grow up with, especially with a father, you being a boy and growing up with your mom? What is the importance of a father in a child's life, especially a son?
I'm a father, a proud one.
Okay.
Don't want people to take it otherwise, but maybe I struggle to answer the question. But of course, my son, It's very young, it's very small. He was just born, it's still small.
Oh, okay.
So I really still don't have that experience. But of course, I'm trying to be there because I did not have really a father present every day in my life. But of course, he was supportive in various ways. But I want to be there for the young man because I think a father figure is someone that is also very important to a child's life. Both parents are actually important, but also a father figure is very important in a child's life. It's just in some of our instances is that there was maybe an uncle that could perform that duty in terms of discipline, in terms of molding you. So then even if you fall, the mother always be carrying, oh, my baby, come here. You say, father, let him stand up. Yeah, so you learn and grow up as a man. And I think, I don't want to be controversial, but that softness from the mother, the caring, can really have men that are weak in society and men that are later also getting gender confused at sometimes. I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just saying you need a father figure also to play that role in the child's life. Because how society view the role of a father in the African context is support. So as long as the father just send money or buy food, then it's but it shouldn't be like that. If your father does not have money, but he comes, take the child to the park, don't understand, go to the child for 2 hours, yes, and bring him back or go for a drive and bring or take him to his football games, cheer for him, or just something. It must not be confined to financial support. Because people think the role of a man is just to give money. It shouldn't be the same. And I think we must really be available as men in terms of the upbringing of our children. Only then we can really have a society that is functional. Because if one parent failed, that's where we have these dysfunctional people, even in activism, insulting and doing, because there was no one to call you to order when you're doing those things. And a man, by nature, can even undermine a woman because you can become very bossy and even start dictating in the house of your mother.
That's true.
That's why you always need a father figure or presence in a child's life so that there is a balance and order in life.
All right. Thank you so much, Amunime, for coming on Africa Speak and for sharing your experiences, the knowledge that you have and all that. So we appreciate you. And I think we actually have come to the end of our interview. And we hope to have you back again, especially when it comes to 2025 as well.
No, thank you very much.
Wishing you all the best.
No, thank you very much for having me. It's quite an interesting platform, especially that it's led by young people, that is conducted by young people. Is an indication that let's find avenues as young people to communicate, to have discourses, to share information, and also educate each other, and not just to rely on traditional media. And so I'm quite impressed and excited by the initiative, and now, of course, ready every time to come back to the platform.
All right, thank you so much. It's for people like you that we're actually also thriving. So thank you so much.
All right, no, thanks.